Hi, this is Les Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. Here we are at the end of July, and to be honest, I thought none of the three major sports would have made it this far. Now, if everybody is careful and follows the rules and do it on time, basketball is slated to come back tonight with LeBron James in action. Other than the blip in Miami, baseball has lived up pretty much to the promises, and nobody expected that. Now let's not do anything stupid. Mary Kay Cabot is here. We'll talk Browns and NFL football. More sports, and Les Levine is on the air.
I think we have 44 days until the opener on September 13th. I think there's 6 off days of those 44. So we have to make every day count. Even those off days, the guys got to make sure that they're serious about their recovery. So we'll be efficient. I think we have a really strong plan in terms of how we're going to ramp it up. Obviously, the NFL gave us a very strict guideline on how to do that. But even within those guidelines, I think we have a really strong plan in making sure that we safely acclimate these players and then continue to teach these systems. You know, I go back to our off-season program. I was really impressed with the amount of work we were able to get done back in the spring. So that's something where I feel like we've built a foundation, and now we get to build upon that foundation here at training camp.
No preseason games. Could you touch on the impact that has in your preparation? And then the second part of that is you were originally planning to use that to kind of figure out whether it was going to be you or Alex to call plays. And I'm just curious now, what is your plan for determining that now?
Yeah, the second part first. We do have a plan. I'll announce that when the time's appropriate, but that's certainly something, like with everything else, you got to have a plan for all of this. And then just missing the preseason games, I mean, sure, it's an opportunity for players. It's an opportunity for our fans to get in the building and see these players. So it's definitely unique. I think it's our job to create as many moments in training camp, as many times we can at practice to mimic game-like settings, put the players in some situational football so that we don't lose those 4 games like you mentioned.
Mary Kay Cabot is here tonight. Of course, over today's action out at Berea, we found out a little bit behind the scenes. Mary Kay, how are you tonight?
I'm doing great, Les. How you doing?
I'm doing well. All right, here's the most important question about a Browns news conference. You ready?
I'm ready.
Did the coach win the room?
You know, he does a nice job in these press conferences. It seems like, you know, he doesn't really seem like a first-time head coach. He's not rattled by too many questions. He knows how to answer things. He knows how to stay away from other things. I think he's passing his first media tests.
Did he ask anybody if there's any other way to get from downtown or what's West Side or wherever he is to get from there out to Berea? Did he any questions at all on that?
No, nothing on that yet. The thing about just doing this on Zoom, it doesn't really have its sort of natural organic flow to a press conference the way it normally would. I know a lot of times, you know, you might have a follow-up question and you really can't get it in right away. You have to wait until you're called upon on the Zoom. So we're all kind of working through this.
But that's the way the NFL teams would like it, right? In an ideal press conference from the team's point of view, not yours, they'd rather have it that way. They don't want anybody asking any tough questions.
Yeah, they do have some control now over who gets to ask a question and when. And so, yeah, it's a little bit different. It's interesting. We'll have to see how this goes as we move forward.
216-575-0403 is the number you can call to talk to Mary Kay. And you have to say, hey, Mary Kay. That's part of the deal. Mary Kay, any votes in on your side with Cleveland Magazine to make you Cleveland's most trusted reporter?
No, no, just interesting is all I was hoping for. I just thought maybe I would get into the interesting category, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah, you started interesting, then you get to top priority. 216-575-0403. Mary Kay Cabot is with us. You know, there were some things that came out today that I'm not sure the average media member really knew as far as the COVID-19 and all that, and players opting out, and I think a lot of them might have been surprised as to what that means.
Well, there are a lot of rules. There's a lot to know. So basically, a couple of the things to know are a player can opt out for the season for a medical reason or a non-medical reason. The Browns have had 2 opt-outs so far. Drew Forbes, I found out today, was for a medical reason. Not sure what that is yet, but he will get a $350,000 stipend for the season, and his contract tolls until next year. The other one, Drake Dorbeck, is an undrafted rookie. He will not get the $150,000 stipend that you would get for a non-medical reason, if that's what his reason was. I don't know that anybody else will opt out, but it seems like there are a few guys that have at least been considering it. Once you opt out, it's irrevocable. You are out for the season, and you cannot change your mind.
Yeah. What about the Scottish Hammer? What's going on with him?
Well, the Scottish Hammer was added to the reserve/COVID-19 list. He's the third player of the Browns on that list now. The first 2 were Dontrell Hilliard, the running back, and a rookie safety by the name of Javonte Moffett. These guys all either tested positive for COVID-19 or have been quarantined because they have been exposed to a person who is infected. So now we've got 3 Browns players, 2 from the first wave. Jamie Gillen was the first player from this current wave of veterans that just reported to the team on Tuesday. They're going through their COVID testing right now. So there could be more guys that fall into this category by tomorrow. Hopefully not, because if it's just limited to him and the other 2 guys, 3 is not that bad.
No.
So if that's the case, then I think that's pretty good.
Okay, help me out on this. You got these guys who sign, and they think they're signing for a couple $1 million. And then they have to rescind it if they're opting out. Well, the problem with that is it may not be the best medical move for them to do that, but they got to get more money. I mean, $150,000 sounds a lot to most people listening to the show tonight, but it seems to me if you're forced into making that call, that's not a lot of money.
No, it's not a lot of money for a football player by any standards. But it does give them something to kind of live on for this year if they choose to opt out for the year. The $350 is obviously better, but again, what happens is, like in the case of Drew Forbes, his $675,000 base salary moves into next season. So he will get paid that next season. It's on the books this year for the Browns, but he will get those paychecks, if and when he comes back to play next year.
All right, so it's somewhat of a guarantee. It's a reverse guarantee, I guess. And they agreed with it. The Players Association agreed with it. So I'm not sure why I'm taking up their cause here.
Well, I actually think that it's something the players really wanted, and the teams are being very respectful. Some teams more so than others. The agent that I talked to today for Drew Forbes said that the Browns have been really, really great about him opting out. Again, he did it for a medical reason. But this particular agent told me that at least one other team that he worked with, wasn't so gracious about a player wanting to opt out. But the Browns are following the letter of the law here, and they're being respectful of a guy's decision.
All right, Grant Delpit was the name that showed up quite a bit on draft night, and the Browns wound up getting him. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Jason Lockenfora had some things to say about that. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Mary Kay Cabot of cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer is with us. She's an NFL insider, right?
There you have it. Yes.
Well,
not an interesting one. But
not yet. No, not yet. But the season's very early. Very early. We're going to take a break. We'll see if during this break we can get you to be very interesting. More Sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com. Did you know the Ohio Lottery has paid out over $1 billion in winnings this past 6 months? People are winning in big numbers, and winning has been happening in a big way around the state of Ohio. And winning is happening all the time. Play an Ohio Lottery game, a winning game, and play it today. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/More Sports and Les Levine, with new content posted each and every day. It's very simple. We post the questions, you post the answers, we put them on the air that night during the show. More Sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions, or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Do you like Ohio State football? Would you like to get information from me, Doug Lesmerises, about Ohio State football without having to look at my face? We have got the plan for you. Become an Ohio State text subscriber through cleveland.com. You send a text, 614-350-3315. What do you get? 2, 3, 4 texts right in your phone every day about Ohio State football. Inside information, polls, voting, all kinds of things. You can be on our podcast. We take text subscriber questions on our Buckeye Talk podcast every week. If you really want to be involved with Ohio State football, in season or out of season, become an Ohio State text subscriber from cleveland.com. Send a text to 614-350-3315. 14-day free trial. What do you have to lose? $3.99 a month after that. 614-350-3315. I'll see you in your phone.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had two choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Welcome back to More Sports and Les Levine. Mary Kay Cabot is with us, as she is on Thursday nights. We've heard a lot about players opting out this season in the NFL, and this is going to continue through the weekend as part of the agreement of the players and the owners. Let's take a look at the key points of the NFL COVID-19 policy. There you see it there. There's a deadline involved, and the money changes. We assume that everybody's going to get their money if they sign for millions and millions. That's not the case. And $350,000 seems to be the big number, and that's not a lot in the world of the NFL. So, Mary Kay, what else do we know about the agreement between the owners and the players?
Is that there is no deadline set yet. That is not going to happen until the NFL and the NFLPA actually sign the agreement that they struck upon on Friday night. It's not signed yet. Once it is signed, I think players will still have about 7 days from that point to opt out for the season. So we have not heard the end of these opt-outs yet. And I have to wonder, once players get back into these facilities and they kind of see how things are working, maybe some players that were going to opt out will decide not to, and vice versa. Maybe some players will get in there and they'll say, I just don't feel comfortable doing this. I don't see how we're going to make this happen. So that's a key thing, that over the next week or so, once this thing gets signed, we have to keep an eye on who else is opting out.
Mary Kay, obviously the new players have some expectations about what it is to report to training camp. How about you, as the media member covering the Browns for as long as you have? What are you looking for as you go into Berea over the next couple of weeks?
Well, the thing that I am looking for more so than anything, just in the big picture of it all, is just efficiency. They need to be extremely efficient this camp, and they are going to do that in several different ways. They're splitting the squad up into like an orange squad and a brown squad, so that they've got things going on that side of the field and this side of the field. I mean, how many times do you watch training camp or practice and you think, boy, they're just standing around, they're wasting a lot of time? There won't be any wasted time in this camp. They're going to move very quickly. They better be in great condition, because they're going to be running from one spot to the other as fast as they can, because there is no time to be wasted. And so just in general, I think that this will be a very structured camp.
I'm hoping they don't get into the first game and all of a sudden coach says, oh, wait a minute, we didn't teach these guys what to do on the kickoff or the huddle. You think they'll get that in?
You know what? I think that this is a very organized, very detailed, organized coaching staff.
Right.
It's vastly different than last year in that regard. These guys have a plan. I'm sure that they have every second accounted for in this camp. And even Kevin Stefanski was talking today about how even on their off days, they have to take care of their bodies and do certain things to make sure that they are ready to go for that opening game. So it's just going to be so different from what was going on under Freddie, when things were disorganized, discombobulated, disconnect, and every dis we can think of.
Don't diss Freddie Kitchens. No dissing around here. There's got to be a couple of things you circle on your notebook or in your notebook as to what you're looking for. Two, three things that you're expecting or not expecting or hope to expect?
Well, a couple of specific things that I will be looking for during camp. I want to know what's going to be going on between Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham Jr. this year. I really want to see if those guys have a connection. Obviously, they haven't had to practice it in person yet. So, what will be different? Will it just be the scheme, the way that Odell's lining up? Will it be the fact that they've got, so many things going on and so many skill players on the field that by nature he will get open, and therefore Baker will be able to get him the ball more? So that's one of the things that I'm looking at. Another thing that I'm looking at is how are they going to use Kareem Hunt? I'm very curious about this. Everybody knows and loves Nick Chubb. He's the workhorse back, but I mean, we know Kareem Hunt is a very excellent back in his own right, an excellent runner, and actually won the rushing title as a rookie. So you can't discount him. How are they going to find a way to get both of these guys on the field and get them the football? The last thing I'm very interested in is the linebackers. How is that going to shake out? Nobody knows exactly who the starting linebackers are. I don't even think the coaches know who the starting linebackers are yet. So I'll be watching that.
Maybe when the players report to camp and park their cars, and then if they run to the linebacker spot, first one there, like musical chairs, first one there wins it.
That could work. I will suggest that to them, Wes. I think it's true.
I would appreciate that very much. Mary Kay Cabot with us from the Plain Dealer and cleveland.com. You can reach her right now at 216-575-0403. That is the number to call. You can do that right now. We want to talk a little bit later. We want to talk about Grant Delpit. He is a guy that has intrigued me from before the draft. So get your thoughts thinking along those lines. We want to talk about him, who I think probably got drafted later than he expected. Is that a fair statement?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he won the Thorpe Award for the nation's best defensive back. I read articles about him where people were talking about him as a surefire top 5 pick in the NFL draft. Wow. Heading into his last season. So I think it was a huge disappointment. I think he's got a tremendous, enormous chip on his shoulder, and I think he's going to want to come in here and make a lot of noise.
I will talk about that in just a couple of minutes. I just want to thank a lot of people who have donated their time and their money and their efforts to help us in the Pals in Motion virtual walk that we're going to be having, and that's going to come up the day the Browns play the Ravens, but that game will not get in the way because it's a night game. But if you want to join it, it's Parkinson's disease. Many of you know that I was diagnosed with Parkinson's about 2.5 years ago, and our money goes to In Motion, which is just a great place where families don't have to pay for treatments, and new treatments are developed all the time. And we thank so many people. We've talked about this on the show the last 3 or 4 days. So many people have signed up, and we appreciate it very much. And even if you can't afford any money, that's fine. Just come and be with us. which is all part of the game. We'd like to see you then. And you can go to the name on the internet, which is moving up. It's events.com, inmotion.org. Events.com, inmotion.org. The team name is moving more with less. We'd like to see you there. We'd like to raise a lot of money, but more important, we'd like to gain some new friends out there. And that's all for the services of In Motion for Parkinson's disease. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Mary Kay Cabot is with us. She's not even a Thursday night guest anymore. She's part of the whole family. Does that make you more interesting in any shape or form?
It's starting to get me there, I think. It helps.
Okay, you let us know when you hit it right. We'll take a break. We'll come on back in a moment. More Sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Wow! Get Nature Stone and never replace your garage flooring again. Act now for huge summer savings on our exclusive Nature's Blend stone, as low as $2.99 a square foot plus installation. Only Nature Stone eliminates cracked, uneven concrete, and Nature Stone never peels like cheap paints and coatings. Safe, beautiful garage flooring that's always backed by Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor.
Wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line. A long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Welcome back. Browns getting ready for the 2020 season. Hopefully no glitches will come their way the rest of the way. One of the good things for the Browns is the fact that Grant Delpit was still available on draft night. Out at training camp, rookie Grant Delpit apparently is going to win a starting job, according to Jake Trotter of ESPN, who used to cover the Browns. There you have it, Grant Delpit. What do you think? Starting from day one?
First of all, Jake Trotter still covers the Browns, but I definitely think that he will be a starter, and I've been saying that all along and writing that Grant Delpit, they drafted him in the second round. When you draft a player in the second round, generally you expect that player to come in and start right away. That's usually how it works, or at least how you hope it will work. And there's also happens to be an opportunity there at safety. It's not like they have two long time established veterans. There's turnover there now, and this is a chance for him to come in and nail down that starting job. If there was a game tomorrow, I would think it would be Carl Joseph and Grant Delpit at the starting safety jobs.
How tough is it? Well, you won't know for a couple of days or a week. How tough is it when so many new players are coming in, and so many of the players are after the same job? I just don't picture guys helping each other out as much as you'd like them to.
Well, I think they will. I mean, for the most part, practice is, it's so regimented and structured, and you're going through your drills and you're doing your things. So, they will help each other out. It's just that there are not a lot of long time veterans at certain positions. Some of the positions, such as linebacker, that, they just don't have that wise, sage, old veteran there to help them out. Now, in the case of quarterback, you do have Case Keenum that can serve as a mentor to Baker Mayfield. And I think that will be very, very helpful for Baker in terms of just knowing the Kevin Stefanski way of doing things and helping him speak that language.
And let me apologize to Trotter. We apologize. Of course, we know he's still covering the Browns. He didn't get jettisoned out there into the real world.
Nope, he's still there.
Your point about helping or not helping, it's interesting because You just said you don't have a bunch of veterans together and they can talk the same language. You also don't have the same coach, position coach or any kind of coach, so that adds another element to it.
Yeah, I'll tell you, this is so interesting. And Kevin Stefanski, before he took the job, I talked to Brad Childress, the former Browns offensive coordinator, the former coach of the Vikings, and we all know who Brad Childress is, but he was a mentor to Kevin Stefanski, and he talked about how unflappable he is, how he's a flatliner, how he can handle things. Nothing is going to rattle him. Of course, I had this conversation with Brad Childress before COVID hit. And, to say that nothing is going to rattle Kevin, and then all of a sudden COVID-19 rains down upon him in his first year as a head coach in the NFL, who could have ever foreseen anything like that? But he has handled it tremendously. He talked today about how excited he is that football's starting. I mean, they're dealing with plexiglass and face masks and nose swabs and opting out and positive tests and, contact tracing where they, if they get within 6 feet of somebody, their little contact tracer device beeps. Nobody's ever had to deal with anything like this before. I think he's doing a masterful job.
Well, we got our own beep right there. I don't know if you're able to hear it.
That was my connection going off.
When you talk about it, has Stefanski really had time for it to settle in? Does he go to the gas station and people recognize him and he says, "Oh, they're talking about me"? I mean, how has he been able to enjoy the process here?
Well, you know what? I'm not too sure if he has had too much of that yet, because I think he's being very careful to social distance. I'm sure he's not out and about the way that he normally would have been, probably with his family, out to dinner and all those kinds of things, if COVID wasn't going on. I think he's probably kind of laying a little bit low. I think he took his family to the Jersey Shore or somewhere, they're from Philadelphia originally. So I think they did something like that for a while this summer. But, I just don't know if has too much of that, out and about mingling, amid the public in the midst of all this.
You can explore your interest and find a program at Tri-C that puts you on a path to for more than 1,000 courses and over 140 career technical programs. Go to tri-c.edu to find out more information at Tri-C. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Lines are open if you'd like to get in. Mary Kay is here. You don't get many chances to talk to her. We'd love to have you do that. More Sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had two choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
Well, hello, everyone. Let me tell you a little bit about Browns Football Insider. For only $3.99 a month, you can get texts sent right to your phone each day from me, Dan Lobby, Scott Pasco, and Ellis Williams. In addition to that, you'll receive a Football Insider newsletter every day with special things from us, things that you won't see anywhere else on the site. You'll get breaking news, analysis, features, film breakdown, and things like that. Texting us directly gives you a great chance to cut through the clutter of Facebook, Twitter, other social media, and avoid the trolls. Also, it's the only way to get your questions on the Orange and Brown Talk podcast. So why should you sign up? Try a 14-day free trial. You can cancel at any time. All it takes is one text, but you won't want to cancel. We have hundreds of subscribers join us over the last year. They love it and have stayed with us. We're seeing the Football Insider community grow every week. And it's only $3.99 a month, which is less than 14 cents a day. What I like most about Football Insider is the opportunity to connect with you one-on-one and really communicate with you. So how can you become a Football Insider? You can click on cleveland.com/Browns, the blue banner at the top of the page. Or easier yet, text me at 216-208-37 3965. Again, that's 216-208-3965.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at smiley1.com.
Well, Myles Garrett was the highest paid player in the NFL for a couple of hours, maybe. He no longer is that, although he's still laughing all the way to the bank. Joey Bosa with the LA Chargers apparently is going to be the highest paid player right now. Jason La Canfora of CBS Sports said that Andrew Berry made a shrewd move by signing Garrett early. La Canfora thinks that Garrett is on the verge of a breakout season. In other words, he was happy that he signed him early as opposed to waiting a little bit longer and making more money come out and all the way down the line. So Jason La Canfora, now a big booster of the Cleveland Browns, which was not the case in previous years. Mary Kay, time, like anything else, timing is everything. I mean, a week ago we were extolling the virtues of Myles Garrett, and all of a sudden he's by far a couple $100. He is no longer the leading money getter. I don't think that'll bother him.
No, I don't think it'll bother him. It was 2 weeks. He spent 2 weeks in that chair as the highest paid defender in the NFL. And then Joey Bosa came along, and his new money average is $27 million a year. And Myles's new money average, in the 5-year extension part of the contract, is $25 million a year. So yeah, it was short-lived, but once again, Myles got paid. I know he's extremely happy with what he got. And I think those guys should be happy in a year when the salary cap could decrease to about $175 million at the lowest next year. So the NFL potentially will lose a lot of money this year, and those guys got their guaranteed contracts.
Yeah, but if I were Myles, I would renegotiate. I mean, that's so disrespectful to be number 2 for an hour or two.
No, I don't think so. I think he's probably pretty happy, and that's the way business is done. I'm sure that maybe Joey Bosa wanted to let Myles get his contract done and then be able to go to the bargaining table with that kind of deal right out there in front.
And Myles, if he's smart, and I know we all know that he is, he would agree to take one for the troops in that case, I would think. 216-575-0403 is the number to call if you want to reach Mary Kay Cabot. You can do that. Mary Kay, this is totally different, as we've said several times tonight, but as you get ready to prepare, you don't have travel for exhibition games. You don't have any kind of on the road one-on-ones with other teams. You still, at this point, have your calendar of what you have to do for the regular season. How do you, as the ultimate media member here, how do you go ahead and plan out your season for 2020 on a personal level?
Well, you know what? The number one thing that I'm hoping for is that we still get to go to the road games, and that there's still a reason to go on the road, and that we still have enough availability that makes sense. I think that would be really unfortunate if we were not able to do that for whatever reason. So I'm keeping an eye on that and hoping that we can make that happen. I'm very sad that we have no in-person interviews with players, that we have all of those only on Zoom. And I think most of the coaching interviews will also be on Zoom. It doesn't lend itself to developing relationships, to getting to know people, to having them develop a trust level with you so that they will be willing to open up and tell their stories, so that we can tell readers and fans and viewers what these guys are like. And it's just, I really hope that we can get back to the old way of doing things after this very unfortunate year.
Welcome to 2020.
Mm-hmm. There's so many things obviously more important going on around the world with COVID and everyone being, sick and losing family members and things like that. But just in terms of, sports and sports writing, I think that Sports is an outlet for people. It's an avenue. It's entertainment. It brings people together. And I just really hope that we can have some normalcy soon.
A couple of things. I'm thinking in terms of young media members just joining on, and they're saying, hey, I heard Mary Kay just say that they actually got to talk to the players. How'd that go?
Yeah, I mean, I can only just imagine if things don't snap back to what they were, how it will impact this profession. I mean, it's already changed so much. It's changed incredibly just over the last, 5-6 years or so. But if it gets to the point where, where it's hard to develop those relationships that I spoke about, then we're really going to have to get very, very creative.
Well, you're right, except that's the way I believe that the teams want it. They don't want you too close to their players for obvious reasons. And the players have their own media outlets, social media, and they don't want to get too close to the traditional media people either.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. I mean, I've still had some good interviews with, with people even in the midst of all of this, and I still anticipate being able to do that. And, just hoping that there are ways to get the stories told and get those relationships built.
Yeah, I can't imagine looking 10, 15, 20 years down the road that you'd have a situation where you as media members or me or whoever, that we can't get one-on-one with these people. And you'd think that they'd want it that way. I mean, I know social media is a totally different ballgame here, but I got to believe that the players, as we know them, still want to be out there in the traditional plain dealer, cleveland.com, or more Sports and Les Levine, you would think.
Well, I still find that to be the case. Even throughout last season, I think we did a good job last year of finding those stories, and guys were willing to tell those stories. I mean, I got a hold of Kareem Hunt at the end of last year, sat with him at his locker for, about a half an hour or more, just the two of us talking about, just what a challenging year he had been through. And, we talked about his father showing up at training camp one day. And it was a very heartfelt interview on his part. I mean, he really opened up to me. And those are some of my favorite kind of things to do. My favorite interviews, my favorite stories to do is just kind of stories from the heart, where you really try to figure out what a person is feeling and thinking and what makes them tick. And so I hope we still have opportunities to do that.
Yeah, well, of course, he's a local kid. And did he know you? Did he know the other media members? Was he on some kind of basis where he knew who he was talking about or talking to?
I mean, I got to know him a little bit during the year. And, that interview didn't happen until December. And so it took a little while for me to work up to that. It took a while for me to get him to the point where he was going to feel comfortable. I had asked him several times, hey, I would like to tell your story. I want people to know, who you really are. And I think he had a trust level with me for that. And sometimes you need help from the team to put in a good word for you, or you need help from the agent or something like that. But for whatever reason, he trusted me. Another story, another one that just turned out to just be, which I still can't believe to this day, is I sat down with Jamie Collins at training camp a couple of years ago, and he just opened up to me and he told me his whole entire life story. Just Jamie Collins and I sitting at a training camp table where they provide us with interviews. And he just poured out his heart and told me things that he had never told any other reporter before. And I'm not exactly sure why, because the New England reporters said that he never opened up to anybody there like that, and he never has since. And I don't know what happened on that particular day where he just felt comfortable. And I don't know if it's because they sense that I care about them as people, or because I have such strong maternal instincts. I really don't know what it is, but I think that's one of the things that I have really tried to do over the years, is tell those stories from the heart.
That being said, why didn't a player like Jamie Collins, who was with the championship New England Patriots and then came back to Cleveland and didn't take advantage of that situation at that time, wound up back in New England again, why is there something that you found in your interview with him that would have let you know that that's the kind of person or player he was, that he the threat of going to Cleveland from New England didn't bother him at all.
No, you know what? No. And the thing about Jamie Collins is that he is a very difficult guy to approach. He can be intimidating. I think most reporters find him extremely intimidating to try to walk up to and talk to. And many times it doesn't go very well. So, I mean, he can be cordial and things like that, but most of the time he just really doesn't want to be bothered.
So that's the way he wants. That's the way he wants it, to set up the distance. It's almost like social distancing.
Yes, social distancing before social distancing was in vogue.
Exactly.
So, you know, I will never know how that interview came about and why he felt like telling his story that day, but I will always cherish that interview, and it will be always one of my favorite.
216-575-0403 is the number to reach Mary Kay Cabot. She is here on Thursday nights. Monday night, Terry Pluto returns. Tuesday, Bud Shaw. Wednesday, the D-Man, Dennis Maniloff. Then Mary Kay again on Thursday. East, West, and South, that's where you're going to find three locations, but you'll find a fourth with the website. And that, of course, is northeastfactorydirect.com. Check it out, guaranteed lowest pricing. And you buy something there, you find out something else in Northeast Ohio is cheaper. You'll get the money rebated immediately from Alex, who's been in that business in those locations for over 20 years. We'll come back in a moment. More Sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Never replace your basement flooring again. Act now for huge summer savings on our exclusive Nature's Pearl Stone, as low as $2.99 a square foot plus installation. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today. It's not just a floor.
Wow, it's Nature's Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line. A long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions, or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Birthdays for today, the great professor, Casey Stengel, born on this date. Joe Nuxall, of course, you Cincinnati people know him as a pitcher and as a broadcaster. And Galen Fiss, who made one of the great plays in the 1964 championship game, Browns beating the Baltimore Colts. Fiss was a linebacker, but got through there and made a big play. Vic Davaleo, center fielder for the Indians, played over 20 years in the big leagues. Fill up my gas tank, 1947. And Chris Mullen, who was one of the great college players, basketball players of all time. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Mary Kay, maybe you can help me. If Carmen Policy was still with the Browns, some of the rules in effect would be known as policies. Can you help explain that?
I like it.
Oh.
Not enough to make me burst out laughing, but...
No, that's okay. That's okay. Giggling isn't good either. Just a recognition that all the hard work and spelling problems, because policies are spelled two different ways.
That's right.
But here we go. I've got, what I do have is some Facebook questions and responses. And this is interesting because Mr. Gullible actually had his pastor come up with a quickie for us, but we'll get to that a little bit later. In the meantime, let's run through these and see what we got. And the answer is, well, nothing at this moment. Still nothing. Oh, there you go. All right, why don't we look at the screen? Question of the day, which is if the Cavs are on the sideline, will you watch the games, the NBA playoff games? Mary Kay, are you a basketball fan at all?
Well, Les, as you may know, I live in a basketball household. My husband is a basketball guy through and through, and so we always have the Cavs games on here. Every single time there's a game on, it's on. And even without the Cavs, there will be basketball on in my house. Yes, absolutely.
All right, very good. Let's move on and see what the responses were. The action returns from the sideline. There you see it. Let's continue on, see what else we have to do, who we have to recognize today. That was Glenn Berger. Now we'll move it along. There you go. It's coming back today. I did not, I'll be honest, I didn't think it was going to happen. Lawrence Butler says no, he's not watching. And it goes on and on and on. Jim Bell with a response. I think that, I just wonder, we brought up a good question the other night, and that is, who's your favorite former Cav, Indians, or Browns players who's not here anymore, who got traded or played out the free agency? Are you still rooting for any of them? The obvious answer for most people would be LeBron James. How about in your house, Mary Kay? Anybody rooting for anybody there, or just the game itself?
Well, everybody still roots for LeBron here. Some people in the house still root for Kyrie.
No, that's not true. It is?
That is true. Yes.
Is it you?
That is true. It is not. Well, I appreciate his basketball skills. There's no question about that. But I wasn't really talking about me right then and there.
Oh, okay. You don't want to out anybody at a time like this. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Let's check out, well, we'll do quickies when we come back, and we'll get some final comments from you. And, well, my producer, Mike Bacon's going to be interested in knowing that I just found what I was looking for the last 10 minutes. Mike, we're under control completely. Totally. Yeah. Yep. Doug Edwards is not interested. Dennis Quigley says, having no horse in the race and the hyper political atmosphere, it's going to be a hard sell. You know, you didn't even think, I didn't think about that either. I just thought about, let's play the games, and now you got games to play under really tough situations out in the streets, and it'll be interesting to see how those players handle it. Let's take a break. Shall we do that? Yeah, we'll do that. The music tells me we're taking a break. More Sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Wow! Get Nature Stone and never replace your garage flooring again. Act now for huge summer savings on our exclusive Nature's Blend stone, as low as $2.99 a square foot plus installation. Only Nature Stone eliminates cracked, uneven concrete, and Nature Stone never peels like cheap paints and coatings. Safe, beautiful garage flooring that's always backed by Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor.
Wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Tomorrow night, we got Dave Bacon's got his weekend winners coming your way. That you see us live from 6 until 7, and of course you can archive us all night long. I'm back on Monday along with Terry Pluto, and you see us from 6 until 7 exclusively live right here on cleveland.com. Tuesday night, Bud Shaw will be with us, and Wednesday, the D-Man, Dennis Maniloff, and Mary Kay returns on Thursday. 216-575-0403 is the number. Mary Kay, just a couple let's get semi-serious if we can here for the roster. David Njoku kind of shook things up, demanding a trade, and then his agent got involved. Apparently they couldn't work it out before the agent got involved. What is a fair trade for him, whether it's draft choices, whether it's players? Just what is it? What is fair, or isn't there anything fair at this point?
Well, the Browns have consistently made it clear that they want to keep him, so therefore they can set the bar pretty high. I think that would almost have to be something like a third that improves to a second. I mean, he was a first-round pick for them. I think they feel he brings a lot of value, and that it would be, that it would not be easy to replace a player like that in the red zone, someone that can just go up and catch some touchdown passes. So I would have to think that they're not going to just give him away. I keep thinking third, second, something like that, and I don't know that anybody's going to want to pay them that.
At what point of the procedure does where he was drafted not mean anything anymore? I mean, to say a guy was a first-round pick or a second-round pick, well, yeah, but today he's not.
I still think the Browns do believe in him. Kevin Stefanski even said that today, and I think they mean it. I think they feel like he brings that kind of value, and he supposedly will be getting better. And I think they would have showcased him in this scheme. So it's not just what you are going to be getting back, but what it would take to replace that guy. Would
Njoku say that?
I mean, he's a proven talent in the NFL. He can catch touchdown passes, and I think he probably would have been better this year.
Would Njoku be saying right now that the exhibition season cancellations really hurt him, or would he understand what that's all about?
Oh, I think that he would understand what that's all about. And I will say that his agent, Drew Rosenhaus, is so skilled and adept at finding trade partners that he probably went into this with something up his sleeve. So we'll see if he can pull something off like he did for Duke Johnson.
All right, Mary Kay Cabot is with us. Mary Kay, we've got some How Come Quickies you have to sit through. Do you mind?
I don't mind.
Just check your contract. It's in there. Drew Rosenhaus put it in. This is from Mr. Gullible's pastor. That's unbelievable. How come, where are we here? How come I thought that I shrunk my clothes, but it was the refrigerator? What? How come when my wife asked, how come when my wife asked if I liked dinner, I said, "Why are you trying to pick a fight?" Mr. Gullible has a strange life. Strange life. How come when
Were these both from the pastor?
I just throw them out there. My job is not to interpret who wrote them. There's no thing here that we actually have to decide who sent it. How come when my wife asked if I did that already. It wasn't funny, so I must have done it again. All right, Mr. Gullible continues on. He says, how come a runner is said to be going downhill when the field is level? All right, that's a legitimate question. How come there can be interruptions but not out-eruptions? All right, he made a little comeback that time. Not great, but a little comeback. And it says thanks. Oh, it does say it's from Mr. Gullible's pastor.
Okay.
Love to go to one of those services. Anything you'd like to add? You got about 14 seconds.
You know what? Training camp is underway, and I'm very interested to find out who else opts out and who else tests positive. My antennas are still up for guys that might, be in those two different situations, and it's just, it's a kind of a bizarre way to start camp. Hopefully there won't be any more of either of those things.
Wouldn't you know that by now, or at least some names would pop out a little bit?
No, not yet.
Not yet. All right.
Nope.
All right, great job as always, Mary Kay. Didn't use your last name this time.
Thank you.
Mary Kay, she's the one word named Mary Kay. is with us, and we're glad to have
Or
her.
two. It's actually two, but
Oh, is that right?
well, Mary Kay.
Yeah, so how do you spell the whole conglomeration there?
There's a space in there, you know.
Okay. The spacey Mary Kay Cabot is with us. We'll see you next Thursday. Thanks so much.
Sounds good. Take care.
All right, Mary Kay Cabot of the Plain Dealer and cleveland.com. We'll see you on Monday. We'll have somebody will be here. No, Terry Pluto will be here on Monday. Bud Shaw, of course, on Tuesday. Dennis Maniloff on Thursday. That'll do it for us. Thanks to Mike Bacon, who did a great job, as always. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.